All right, Roos, welcome to the podcast. We're here at Conversations with DJ. We don't talk about how many episodes we do anymore because I always get them wrong. But yeah, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. There has been some legends on this chair, so I'm very grateful that I'm here. I'm Roos van Riek, and I'm from the Netherlands, and I play MLP in Australia.
So, did you grow up? Were you born in the Netherlands, and then you moved to Australia? Where are you living nowadays?
So the last year and a half, I have been living in the Gold Coast in Australia, but born raised in the Netherlands, and yeah.
And is Netherlands where you started playing pickleball?
No, actually, so last year in January, I came to Australia just to work as a tennis coach and being a hitting partner.
Okay.
And one of the head coaches over there introduced me to pickleball because, I just needed some social contact. And then pickleball came in my life.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm from Spain, right? So then when I moved to the U.S., I didn't even speak the language. Did you speak English when you came to the Australia?
I've been in college here in America for like a year and a half, so I think that I picked up some English.
Yeah, no, you picked it up really well. But obviously, like when you move to a brand new place, right, and it's so different, like Europe to Australia, and then like just even not only the language itself, but I feel like when you're just trying to connect with people, it just feels different, right? Because everyone has like different morals and values. So was that kind of a challenge for you to go to Australia and start like kind of like trying to figure out how to get along with people, or was it pretty natural for you?
I mean, I'm pretty social, to be honest, so it's like easy to connect to people, but it's more I came there just as a job, and I didn't knew anyone except the family that I was working with. And and then it was okay to connect, but pickleball helped so much. Like at that point, I think I started pickleball. So I came in January. So I think in July just to play some socials, and then like socials on Wednesday, I got to know a few people, and then it grew.
Yeah, absolutely. So the very first time that you played pickleball, was it kind of like you fell in love with it right away, or were you like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I was. I was a little bit hesitated of like playing it the first start. So I was like, just for older people, like no way, I'm still into tennis. Like that's it. But then I was playing it, and I saw that there were people my age playing it. So
like one of them.
Yeah. So that helped. Yeah. And then at the moment you play, like you get addicted. Like, I think everyone said that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. How long do you think it took you to get to a level where you were like, oh, like I'm pretty good, let me go pursue this?
I think I played like to take it serious like last September, because in between I was like still working. I just did it like once or twice a week, and then I was actually doing a road trip in Australia. So I went from Cairns to Brisbane, and there was like a tournament in July. There was like the Queensland Championship or something. And I did pretty well in that one without, like, I trained, but not as much. And I did well. And then people started noticing me from, hey, maybe you should try it out. And and then I came back in September to take it seriously, stopped like my study.
You stopped your study?
I'm doing it again, my gap year. So I'm still in my second gap year.
Okay.
And and now I'm here.
Nice, very cool. Well, we're happy to have you. So, as basically you came from tennis, right? So was the transition from tennis to pickleball pretty easy, or were there a lot of things that you had to like unlearn? Are there things now that you're trying to learn as far as like pickleball goes? Like where are you landing in that?
Like the transition going from tennis to pickleball. I think it went easier than if you don't play tennis. Like for me, it went pretty natural. Like especially like ground strokes and like volleys, that kind of things. Yeah. That's pretty natural.
Yeah. So do you think is tennis the best sport you can play to get better at pickleball, or do you think ping pong or badminton is a little bit better?
I think that's like the beauty of this sport. Like everyone can, like if you have like a racket sport, then it's easy to transit. Like in what I know, like there's a girl from Australia, she plays table tennis. She's like the top female player now in Australia. Yeah. And then actually in my team now in the MLP next season, she's from professional badminton. Okay. She's gonna be great this season. So I think everyone, if you play a racket sport, you can go easy into transition.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm really good friends with Dylan Frazier. We've been friends for like the longest time, right? And back in, I think last time I beat him was like 2019 or something. But I used to be pretty much better than him. And then like every year, like the gap just keeps like getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But just to kind of, and I talked about this before, but used to kind of have somebody like Dylan, like be number one that in pickleball that never even played tennis, never played ping pong. He's actually terrible at ping pong, like terrible. And for him to just come out and like win a major in singles, to be number one player in doubles, like to me, it's a really good thing for pickleball, because when you have athletes like Jeannie, athletes like Jack Sock that did really well in tennis, which is viewed as like the king of like the racket sports, it kind of sets a little bit of a statement, because like, well, you don't need to have that background. You know, you don't have to have had like all those years of training. You don't need to be a Wimbledon winner. Like, it's just, you know, Dylan, which is like a 5'10", just like total normal guy from Missouri, you know? So that's kind of cool. But obviously you're playing full-time pro now in Australia.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about maybe coming to the US a little bit more and trying to play full-time here? Or what are your thoughts?
I mean, that's my goals. Like for me, I'm now here together with my friend and mixed partner Jay. We like just have like 3 weeks of like training over here, just to, for me, it's personally as well, like see where my level is here in America, because America, that's where the best players are. So yes, my goals are coming back here, but for now, like till the end of the year, I play just like locals in Australia, like go around, like some WPC. I'm gonna play BPA Australia, so maybe next year there will be in the cards for me.
Yeah, for sure. Do you see yourself like making a big move if everything goes well and just kind of living here full time?
Yeah, that will be cool. Yeah.
Do you have a state in mind that you would live at?
I mean, I see that the level here is pretty good, and I like the beaches here, so it will be good.
Nice. Do you live by the beach in Australia?
Yeah, so Gold Coast,
Nice.
so like Surf's Paradise.
Okay.
That's the place
awesome.
to be.
So obviously playing full-time pro now, like what does some of your training look like?
So now those 3 weeks we try to get like 2-3 like trainings in a day, and then I need to work on my stretching and my Pilates and everything, but but it's getting
So do you do any sort of like strength training, or do you have a coach? Do you do any like full like speed work?
I need to work on that, yes. Okay. So back in the Netherlands, I did some, I had like a personal coach that I trained with. But now, like obvious traveling, I had to do by myself, but yeah.
Are you doing it?
No, not really. I have to.
Well, so like the way that I see it, right? Like everyone, a lot of the times when I talk to a lot of people, like they're like, oh, like I need to get faster, I need to get stronger, like, you know, I need to be more flexible. But like to me, like if you look at a pyramid of like sports, right? Like the biggest thing, like the bottom thing is like you just have to be really good at the sport first.
Yeah.
And then like recovery, like nutrition, you know, working out, like to me that's just kind of like the cherry on top, you know? So maybe, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but maybe you're at a point too where you're playing really well, but you also feel like you have to just play more pickleball, play against better and better people just to kind of improve your game. And then as that gets better and better and better, then you can be like, oh, like let me add in some like nutritional stuff. Let me add in some like, you know, working out, whatever. And then one thing, so I had a coach in Texas. His name is Zach, and he runs a podcast too. So big shout out. But his thing that he would always say is like the best ability is like availability, right? So I don't know if I said that right, but basically like you have to be healthy to be able to play, and that's something that I kind of like felt this year. Because I'm young, but I'm still getting a little bit older, you know? So it's like things that used to hurt for a day, it's like it'd be fine the other day. And like now it's like, oh, I'll wake up and like my wrist hurts a little bit, you know, or whatever it is. So just making sure that you're maybe not like, you know, running sprints every day, but probably like, you know, just trying to be as healthy as you possibly can every day to give yourself a better chance for the long-term run as like the best thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. Like for me, I have so much to learn in pickleball itself, and from like what you said, like I need to like play more to get better, and then like I'm pretty fit myself, and I still, if I train 3 times a day, I get my fitness in. So I don't need to at this point yet work on all those other things.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, totally
So
agree.
what do you think are some of the like your strengths in pickleball and your weaknesses?
My strength and my weakness. So actually, I think my biggest strength on the court is my ability to move. I'm pretty fast, and as well as like I'm pretty. I am serious on the court, but I also take it as a lot of fun yet still because I'm not as you guys like you guys are already on the top, and I still have so much to improve. So I learn every day, and I still take it every time as like a learning process. So I still have a lot of fun. So for me, that's my biggest strength, that I still have that fun
Yeah.
in pickleball. And yes, I'm taking it serious, but also just learning a lot. And
You have to enjoy what you're doing, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're at the level you're in pro, it is your job. And for me, it's still like, yes, it is my job, but also, enjoying it at most.
Yeah.
So, and like one of my weaknesses may be sometimes taking it, yes, taking it serious, but also like being more fun on the court. So yeah.
I thought you were gonna say your biggest weakness was
Yeah.
gonna be your mix partner.
Yeah, maybe. We need to get some wins in.
I'm just kidding. If you're with us, big shout out to him. No, but that's cool. I mean, so obviously we practiced a little bit yesterday. I was actually like, I didn't know really what to expect from you guys because I've really only played with Kyle Wadnall, right, which was here on the podcast yesterday. But he's technically, like, he's lives in San Diego, right? So he's like, he trains here, trains with Cal, and trains with me at times. Plays with Mike, which
Yeah.
was there yesterday. So I didn't really know what to expect from any of you guys at all. But I was actually really pleased with the all of you because I thought, in my opinion, that you guys were playing, whatever, like, quote unquote, like, proper pickleball means, So obviously, not to be mean to anybody, but the level here is just higher, right?
Yeah,
And it is what it
definitely.
is. So for you guys, how do you go about like watching film? Like, how do you think you can actually get better? In the sense of like, how are you able to compete against like the people in the U.S. if like who you play mostly is in Australia? Like, are you watching film? Are you studying players that you're like really a fan of? Like, how does that work?
For me, it's like still Australia's from me where I'm playing. So I do watch like, because the level in America and Australia is so different that for me, it's at this point not really looking into America yet, because like Australia is still where I am based.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm watching YouTube videos and that kind of things for America to gain my game, but it's so different that it doesn't really help at this point in Australia.
Yeah.
Because like I played you against yesterday, did like those crazy tricks that I'd never
That's
seen.
all-
I was
that's
like,
all I have.
yeah, I was like, that's not gonna work. Like, I mean, obviously it's work, but it's not gonna be in Australia.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Not yet. I signed up for MLP Australia.
This is like a tea spilling.
No, it's funny. No, for sure. Like, to me, like the way that I see it, right? It's like Australia is almost like a year or two like behind the U.S. when it comes to like level, in my opinion.
I think even more. Yeah. I think
Not in level,
maybe.
like overall. Like when I look at like the live stream, when I look at like you guys playing, like it's like a little behind, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense to, try to mimic like the best player in the U.S. or try
Yeah.
to like watch film on them, but at the same time, like you probably want to do a little bit of like research on like why is Annalise so good, like
Yeah.
what is she doing, right? Like what can you like get from a lot of these players that are so good, right? Like I know, like to me, like the biggest downfall for a lot of players though is that when they come into the sport, and I've been playing for a long time now, but they always come into the sport and like, okay, who's the best player? It's like, okay, Ben Johns, right? And then you watch them play and develop, and they all try to play like Ben.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're never going to be as good as Ben if you try to be like Ben. So I talked to Callan. Have you met Callan before?
Yeah, I think last week. Yeah.
Nice.
This week. Yeah.
Yeah, super nice guy. He's been playing for a long time. He's very good too. But the best thing is with him is that when he started playing even longer than I have, like he would grab like one thing from like people that he would like, and if he didn't like
Yeah.
you, he wouldn't grab anything from you, and then he would just, okay, I like the way this guy holds the paddle, I like the way this guy lobs, like when does he hit
Yeah.
this shot, and then just kind of grabbing things here and there from like a bunch of different people
and make it your own.
And make your own. Where then again, like I was saying, like so many people get caught into like, oh, let me just hit like everything two hands because that's how Riley plays. And then it's like, well, yeah, you could get pretty good that way, but that's not what Riley did. Mm-hmm. So why are you trying to copy what everything he's doing? You're never going to be as good as him, right?
Yeah.
And I think it happened a lot in tennis too, like especially growing up, is like, I want to hit my forehand like Djokovic. Well, I'm never going to be Djokovic, right? So it just gets a little interesting that way. That said, like, you know, who are some of your favorite American like pickleball players, males and females?
I mean, obviously, like the top, like Ben Johnson and Ellie Waters. That's like obviously like the number one. So that's what you're a little bit looking at. And maybe you're like after yesterday, I will get you some highlight reels. Yes. Looking for it.
Yes, that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So you won MLP Australia last year, right?
Yes.
What team were you in?
Northern Crocs.
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah.
that's
So
what
actually, Cal will be in my team. So I have a hoodie for him that he can maybe borrow.
Nice, perfect. So I have a quick question because I don't fully understand. Like, I understand how MLP works here because I've been around it for so long.
Yeah.
Right. And it's confusing. Like, it is what it is. Like, there's a draft every other day. There's all this trades happening where they're not supposed to be, you know, there's all this stuff going on. So for MLP Australia, like, how does the drafting work?
So there will be there's 12 teams, 8 from Australia, 2 from New Zealand, and 2 from Asia. And in those 12 teams, there's like 12 team captains, and those team captains can pick. They have to pick the players.
Yeah,
so it's
but
not
that's
like
the first pick. The team captain is the first.
Yeah, so they are. Yeah, no, so they're already
part of the team.
Part of the team, yeah, and they will pick the players. So it's not like where you guys like team owners and they will pick it. Like 4 players, like the team captain will pick 3 players, and that's like the team of 4.
Yeah.
So the first season there was like a snake draft from like 1 to 12, 12 to 1, 7 to 12, and then 1 to 6.
Well, that's confusing.
Yeah. No. It makes sense. And then this season, easier, 1 to 12, 12, 1, 1, 12.
Okay.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah, 36.
Yeah. And then my first season, I got picked by the Northern Crocs, which the team captain is Summer Delabano.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she picked me as number 7. So she was the number 7 in the draft. So she picked me, and then so she picked first a girl and then 2 boys after.
So, right. So I get that, but if there's 12 teams,
yeah,
how do you go from first pick and then you get picked 7th? Because she's already one of them, and she like what pick does she have?
Number 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So confusing. Sorry.
So I think what they did in the first season is that they literally like pull like a number out of a hat, and then they pick the order.
Okay.
And now this season 2 was the person who became last can pick us first.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but the first season, because it was very new, like 12 new teams, like 8 new teams actually. They just did it by picking
out a hat.
Yes.
Yeah. So how many events were there? Because I know you won one. I'm pretty sure Roman also won one of them.
We actually, Northern Crocs won 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys won 2.
Yes, and we lost the last one because Roman won, like the Gold Coast Glory won the last event.
Okay, sounds good. Was the last event like a bigger event, or was it just like an extra one? So it was like 3 throughout the year?
No, so it's actually, one season is 3 events, and the second season is also 3 events.
Okay.
Yeah. And
season per year or season per half year?
Half year.
Half year, so 6 months.
Yeah.
But you pick a brand new team.
So now, so second season, brand new team.
Okay.
Yeah, in America, they have like a full year of one team. And here it was just like 6 months, and then they changed.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
And, okay, so you guys, same thing, 2 guys, 2 girls.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on MLP having more people in a team in case somebody gets injured?
Yeah, that's actually a very good one, because there were a few injuries during the first season, and they had to like swap. And last year the rule was if you have played in one team, you cannot play in any other teams anymore.
Interesting.
So yeah, that was kind of sad because in the first event, actually Sydney Smash, the team of Mitch, needed a swap, and then David Richardson swapped in, and then he couldn't play in any other teams anymore in the second and third event.
Oh, that's not good for him.
No.
Yeah, it sucks.
No. Yeah. So he was like, that's it, because everyone was fit after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point, you might as well just have extra people on your team, right?
Yeah, and also to train with, because because at the point, yes, we were in a team of 4, but we had someone from India, someone from Taiwan that we couldn't train with, so it was just me and Summer, my captain. So you just train with the half of your team, which is good, but you need like more people to train with.
Yeah, 100%. So do you think it's 6 the perfect number? Do you think it's 8? Do you think it's more? Like realistically speaking?
I think maybe 6. I think 8 is maybe too much, because it's not that everyone got injured so many times.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah.
But with 8, you could have like doubles going on at all times too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. If you want to like train more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's...
Yeah, I guess like considering like you guys are getting people internationally, it might not work super well. But for me, living in the US, I'm playing Challenger right now. It's like, okay, well, for 4 people, I've been injured, so then the team gets kind of screwed.
Yeah.
With 6, you're always gonna leave 2 out unless you have like 4 people playing and then 2 drilling or playing singles. With 8, you can kind of like mix and match and like learn partnerships and synergy and stuff like that. So going back,
but then there will be 4 people on the bench the whole time. That's also like there are like 4 people who always play, and then
a lot of people on the bench in an NBA team though.
Yeah, that's right.
Or a soccer team.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's, as long as you're like playing for a team, training full time, always being ready. Like being on the bench, I don't think is a bad thing, right? Because you're basically like, when you think of like any sort of sport, like let's say soccer, because you're from Europe, right? Like you have people that get paid a lot of money to like play like the last 10 minutes of the game, but the work is not in those last 10 minutes really. Like the work is in like showing up every day, training every day, making your team better, making your teammates better, right? And then making that team overall good. And then you get like those 10 minutes of like grace. I don't know, like those minutes of like spotlight, but then it doesn't really always translate. So I don't think it would be a bad thing to have like 4 people playing and then 4 on the bench if you need them, because you could also do it on matchup. It's like, oh, like I really don't like playing against you.
Yeah.
Let him play. So I don't think it'd be the worst thing, because matches in pickleball are a huge thing too. Like you always see like, oh, this guy beat this guy, but then he lost to this guy. How does that happen? Well, it's like matchup related, right? Yeah. So in Australia, like if you were a team captain, which I'm sure you'll be soon, like how would you draft properly? Like would you go 2 girls first? Would you go, in your case, girl guy, or would you go?
That's actually a good question, because last season I think the top 3 were all female captains who picked a female first.
Okay.
Which I think now this season a lot of guy captains picked also like a girl first, because they see how important actually girls are.
Yeah.
Because we start with like female doubles. And if you already have that lead of 1-0, it gives also a little bit.
Is that a rule? Always female doubles?
Yes.
Okay.
And then men's, and then mix.
Yeah. How do you guys choose the mix?
Because so Arman and Nelson were in my team, like the 2 guys. And I think we got together like maybe 2 days before the first event, and then we just like try to mix it around. And then I think maybe it was luck maybe the first time to play, and then it worked. Like Arman and I, we only lost 1 out of all of them. So I think maybe chemistry as well. Yeah. Like Arman and I, we had like a lot of fun on the court, and just energy wise.
For sure.
So your question, like how should I pick? I think I will pick like a female, because I see it's very, because I saw the depth in women's are not as big as in men's. So you know
Yeah.
that there will always be like solid guys.
How big is the gap between like a number one girl and like the number, let's say
Yeah.
number first round and fourth round girl?
Yeah, that's like a big gap.
Like really big?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think I can say that. Yeah, I think like for example, the number one and say the number one female in Australia and the number 20. That's like
Just incredible.
yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. See, because now I'm thinking like, when you do draft, right? Like if you don't have a team captain, if you have just a team owner, and then you draft a girl first, like do you still do the same thing, or do you only draft the second girl right away because you already have a girl on the team?
One more time. What do you mean?
So you guys, so basically your captain is already chosen for you.
Yes.
Right? So like there's like, okay, like let's say Mitch, right? Like Mitch
Yeah.
is just the guy in that team. For us, the owner is like the one that picks somebody first during the draft. So you can go two guys if you have like a 11 and 12 pick, or sorry, 12 pick and first pick in the second round, because it makes more sense maybe that way, right? But in your case, you've already picked this person, so that's already a captain there. So I guess like it's kind of tough to like decide.
How does it work? So does it work? You have to pick a girl, boy, girl. You cannot pick. You can pick girl.
You can.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can girl, guy. You can do whatever
Okay.
you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that how it works in over there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so we used to like 2 years ago. I actually won. I won MLP Newport, but the way the draft worked was that if you had a girl first, you had to pick a guy.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, and if you had a guy, you had to pick a
Okay,
girl.
but not anymore.
No, it doesn't work
Okay.
like that anymore.
Okay,
But
okay.
what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it should always be guy girl? Or you should always be, or you could choose the same gender no matter what?
No, I think to get like the best team and like a fairest team, you can pick whatever.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, if you want the best team, yeah.
So when you guys won last year,
Yeah.
like was it a big gap in the team? Like were you guys just like we're just better, or was it kind of like oh like these other teams are kind of good? Like what's the gap like?
I
over
think last season, yes, you can have like a few teams that you're like, okay, you want to play against them.
Mm-hmm.
But now this season 2, it's ridiculous. Like people from the States came.
Yeah. Hal Yates is
yeah,
going.
he's
Yeah.
coming. Michelle Escobar is
Mm-hmm.
coming as well. So now this season 2, there's not one team you like want to play against because everyone is like I think solid and like.
Yeah.
But last season, yes, there was like for example, we finished first like season 1,
Yeah.
and like number 12, like yes, there was like a big gap. So
Yeah. Tell me about Standout Pickleball.
Standout Pickleball, yeah. So I actually signed with them like I think like 3 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and
You get any money?
I have a good good contract. And yeah, so Standout Pickleball, the owner is Ludovica,
Mm-hmm.
and she is born and raised in Italy, but she lives now in Brisbane. Like
Okay.
she lives in Australia.
Yeah.
And the brand is designed in Italy but manufactured in Australia.
Okay.
So yeah, she has been a great friend, but also like a good partner.
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually the one who believed in me from the start. Like I played against her last year in that tournament I was talking about in Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she noticed me right away. And I played with different pedals, but yeah, this one stick, and actually the first pedal I ever owned by myself. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I actually, funny enough, I had somebody watch my podcast, and then they actually sent me like a email or I don't know what it was, but they wanted me to get her on the podcast. They actually mistaken the SO for 6-0, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's the owner of 6-0, whatever, but it's actually Standout, right?
Yeah.
And I sent her a text, and she was super nice. She's like, hey, like I'm not in the U.S., but like if I'm ever around, I'd love
Yeah.
to come on it and be in the podcast and whatever. So that's kind of like just kind of like funny to me. But I guess if you had to be truly honest, like with paddle wise, right? Like, do you think there's a huge like gap between paddles right now?
No, not. I mean, everything is now manufactured probably in like the same fabric or anything. It's. I mean, it's every pedal has something different. So at a point, it's just like personal. It's very personal to have to what you like. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I was gonna ask you about your paddle, would you say it has like the perfect amount of spin and power?
For me, it is. Yeah.
Dude, it's the best. Like every time I go on Instagram, it's like an ad for anything, and like everyone's talking about their paddle. It's like, yeah, this paddle like has like the perfect mix of like power and spin.
Yes,
And it's like, it's like every paddle does.
It's like their own.
Yeah, but yeah, that said, I'm really excited to go out there on the courts with you guys at 11 today. Get some practicing in, and I'm just gonna, say a quick shout out to my sponsors. Thank you, Hesacor, You Drippin', Stack, and Head. Use DJ Young code at the end for a nice little discount. And just if there's anything you want to say or add or thank or...
No, yeah, I want to thank you. And as well as having you guys around here helping this going. So, yeah.
Let's go.
Thanks. I will have a little...